Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me, your host, Tommy Gilbert, as we sit down and take a behind-the-scenes look into Titan athletics with weekly interviews with coaches and athletes. This is Titan Table Talk. Good evening, Titan fans, and welcome back inside the Ames Library podcast studio for Week 7 of Titan Table Talk. Our first guest coming up in just a moment will be women's soccer head coach Oz Bakirdan. He'll be followed by football head coach Norm Eash and Titan men's soccer senior Brody Seaton. Welcome, Oz. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Really exciting week for the Titans, at least for the last 93 minutes of play over the last two games, I'd say. Last Wednesday, for those of you who missed it, Whitewater led the entire way. 87 minutes, and then a dramatic 89th minute goal from Sammy Shanks to tie it up, and then, of course, the 1-0 victory over North Park on Saturday. How you feeling about that last two?
I'm feeling pretty good. A lot better than the beginning of the season, that's for sure.
It's felt so often like, with a roster with almost exclusively first-year starters coming in, you've been so close so many times in so many different games, especially on the offensive end, and to finally be able to break through on Wednesday, do you feel like that was a little confidence boost that they needed?
It is. We definitely needed a win. I felt pretty confident in this game. We've been training very, very well, and the girls were just buzzing in training, so I was expecting a good result and on Saturday, and they came through.
Not the best conditions, perhaps, for soccer, even in mid-October out there in the rain and the wind. And it was really two very different halves, I would say, in the North Park game. Titans outshot the Vikings 12-4 in the first half and then 16-3 in reverse in the second. It does help when you have an actual goalkeeper in there when you're facing 6 shots on goal, though. So
We did. We finally have a goalkeeper. Adriana Ruffalo is healthy now. And so having that instead of a field player playing in goal is a huge benefit. And we're hoping to ride that out all the way up to our next few games here with Elmhurst and North Central.
What did you see out of Adriana in her first 2 games in net in college?
Actually, she's very vocal. She can actually catch a ball very easily. And just her positioning and her space, her awareness of positions and moving the center backs. And it's nice to have a player that's in that position playing in goal.
Yeah, of course, since Kayla's been hurt for a significant chunk of the year and getting Adriana in there, having someone who's been used to doing that for more than a few games in their life is nice, certainly. As you look ahead to this upcoming week, the final 2 games of the regular season already, hard to believe, both at Nicefield, Elmhurst coming in at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, and then the league-leading North Central Cardinals on Saturday. Obviously, some momentum built last week. Girls excited to finish strong here?
I think so. We actually still have a chance to possibly get in the CCIW tournament. That's a goal that we have. We just need a positive result against Elmhurst. Obviously, I think we need a little help also. There's a big game. North Park is playing Carthage on Wednesday as well. A North Park result would be very good for us.
Mm-hmm. And, kind of tying back to what we talked about a little bit earlier, in your second now full season here at Illinois Wesleyan, thrilled to have you here, by the way, you look at 2 completely different teams over your 2 seasons, one that was very experienced coming off a little bit of a disappointing finish to the year before, and therefore, had 4 seniors and 4 fifth years on that roster, versus this year when you graduate 8 high-impact players for the most part across the board, kind of having to retool with players who have not played together before. How has that affected your coaching style and how you had to approach this season?
It was a little frustrating at the beginning of the season, I will admit, because expectations were, to follow through. It's like, okay, it's your turn to step up now. We just didn't get the results that we were looking for early in the season. We ended up with quite a few injuries. Losing Kayla was really hard. And honestly, my 2 seasons here, we haven't had a training session with 2 goalies in a training session, which is almost unheard of. But I will say the girls are very resilient. They've been battling through even the games that we lost in the last couple of weeks were, 1-0, 2-1. We had a lead against Wheaton at 1-0 at half. We're just not able to hang on. We have not been able to piece together a full 90-minute game yet.
Yeah, that's why it was so exciting to see that over the last 2 weeks, just the dramatic finish on Wednesday and then actually being able to play 90 minutes of quality soccer on Saturday in the rain.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the girls have just been very focused in training, and they're coming together well. A little late, but we're really young, So these are players that didn't really get to contribute a lot last year, and that are now being put in a starting role, along with some freshmen that have been starting and doing very well for us.
And for those who may not be as familiar with your background, new to Illinois Wesleyan, but definitely not new to the Central Illinois soccer scene, and not someone who's used to hopping around jobs very often. We're at ICC for 2+ decades, as well as your club positions in Morton before this. And really first big transition over these last couple of years, moving into a different job. What's that been like for you, both, professionally and personally?
Personally, I love it here at Illinois Wesleyan. It's really rewarding from the standpoint that I have players that are very committed to both the academics and then the soccer side. It is a little different. It's a new environment, but I feel like professionally, I think it's been a great challenge. The second year has been a little tougher than the first year, having some inexperienced players. But I think as we were recruiting and bringing in new players, I think that will, solidify the roster a little bit in the next couple of years as well.
Well, for those who have not managed to catch Coach Oz's soccer program yet this fall, you've got 2 more chances. Come on out to Nice Field once again, 7 p.m. start against Elmhurst on Wednesday, noon start against North Central on Saturday. Hope to see you all out there. Good luck to you this week.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back in just a moment with head coach Norm Eash.
Berg drives one in the air to center field. This is down for a base hit. The Titans are going to win the ball game. Ethan Berg walks it off, and the Titans storm all the way back with 9 runs in their last 2 innings. They win it tonight, 13-12.
Welcome back, Titan fans. Our second guest this evening is Titan head football coach Norm Eash. Titans coming off a tough 2-point loss up at North Park, a much improved Viking squad this Saturday. Had the lead for most of the first half, up 12-0 in the early second quarter, and then the Vikings were able to fight back and fell just barely short at the end. Coach, what did you think of this past weekend?
Well, it was a tough loss for us because we won every statistical battle you can think of during the game, but we didn't win the most important one. That was the final score. We had 22 first downs to their 7. We had 400 yards of total offense to their 200. It's just one of those games where there was about 5 key plays that we had to make to win the ball game, and we just didn't get it done. And so, we talked to our kids about we got to find a way to win. We're getting better as a football team. We did some really good things, but it was disappointing for our players. They want to win bad, and we just haven't gotten the breaks this year that sometimes we get in every years, and so we got to just keep working and get better.
Yeah, had a couple big special teams plays that affected the game, one in each direction. Of course, a Jahari Scott blocked punt for a touchdown early on, and then missed extra point. And then Dermot Smythe, a 2-yard run, put the Titans up 12-0. And then I believe it was a penalty that allowed you to go for 2 from the 1-yard line. But then immediately after that score, of course, Juan Nieves for the Vikings brought the kickoff back 90 yards. And just a little bit of that, 2 steps in the right direction, 1 step back right away. It shoots you in the foot a little bit that we've talked about before.
Yeah, we talk about momentum swings, and special teams are a big part of that. And, when we blocked the punt, we missed an extra point. And so the momentum we had by blocking the punt, you lose a little bit by missing the kick. And, North Park is going to look up there and say, well, it's 6 points. Now we can score and kick an extra point and be on top. And then the other thing is, we allowed a kickoff to be returned on us, and that put them on the board and got them a little bit more alive. And then, we came out the third quarter, and our objective was we had to win. We had to put the game away. And I told our players after the game, the game was won in the third quarter. And we just didn't generate any points in the third quarter. We tried a field goal. We were on the 12-yard line, had a holding penalty, brought us back, tried a field goal with the win, and missed it. And those are things that are crucial when you're playing a team that plays harder with momentum switches, and that's what North Park does. And so once those things happen, they got the big pass play, of course, and went on top, and then they start playing harder, and we start playing catch-up. And so, you know, our players never quit, though. I mean, they played hard. I feel bad for them, you know, so.
Yeah, for those who missed the second half of the action, at least on Saturday afternoon, it was that 6-minute span in the late third and early fourth quarter, like you alluded to, North Park rushing touchdown, and then the 71-yard pass, I believe it was with 13 minutes to go in the ball game, that made it 20-12. Did put together a great 11-play drive in the fourth quarter, ended with a 9-yard touchdown run for Seth Albin. Of course, at that point, you have to go for two and give it your best shot. Had one less chance on that last 2.5-minute drive after North Park didn't get the first down conversion on the 4th and 5 on the Titans 20. But again, like you said, it's tough to stomach sometimes. You're looking at 22-7 on first downs. The defense held North Park to 1 for 9 on third down conversions. So there's so many things you can point to that there are positives there.
Again, it comes down to individual plays, and you know we tell our players that each play is precious, and they are. We had a chance. We were down in their territory at the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter, and you know it was a 4th and 12, but it's into the win, and he'd already missed an extra point and another field goal with the win. So we went on 4th down and didn't get it. The 2-point conversions are tough because we got beat by 2 points.
Yeah.
And so you think about the missed extra point and the missed field goal. You know, if we make those, we win the ball game. So you know, there's a lot of things. Like I said, overall, we did a lot of things very well, and we improved. It's just that you know there was 5 or 6 plays, and some of those were special teams plays that really kind of cost us the ball game.
Yeah. And looking ahead, facing a Carthage Firebird team on the road up in Kenosha this Saturday, with an equal 1-4 record in the CCIW. 27-20 was their lone victory over Elmhurst. The guys fired up a little bit for this one, I'm going to guess.
Well, I hope they're excited about every ball game. I think you know we go into every ball game expecting to win, and you know we played a very tough schedule early, and you know got beat by some very good teams. Came back and got Milliken. You know. Now it's to the point where, you know, we're 1-4, Carthage is 1-4, but also, you know, we're going to their place, and it's one of our tougher trips. I mean, that's almost a 3-hour trip, and we go the morning of, and so it puts a strain on our players. And North Park is a tough trip. So if you think about our schedule, we had a lot of tough games early, and then our road games, the tough road games are back-to-back this year, you know, North Park and Carthage. So we'll get our players prepared, and they want to win, and we just got to, you know, create some opportunities early and control momentum and get on top of people and separate ourselves from Carthage. I mean, we have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially allow Seth and the running game to get going with hopefully a lead in the second half there. For those of you who are up in the Chicago area or north suburbs, southern Wisconsin, head over to Kenosha this Saturday. Go check out Coach Esch and the Titan football team. Kickoff against Carthage at 1 p.m. Hope to see you all there. Good luck to you, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tommy.
We'll be back with our final guest of the day, Titan men's soccer senior Brody Seaton.
Hey there, Titan fans. The Titan Streaming Network is looking for new sponsors for the 2023-2024 season. If you are interested in sponsoring the live streams and having your brand or company showcased during the games, don't hesitate to reach out to live stream coordinator Tyler Wilson at twilson2@iwu.edu. Together we can form a partnership that helps all sides and allows us to continue showcasing and supporting Titan athletics. Thank you, and go Titans!
Welcome back inside the Ames podcast studio. Our third and final guest here in week 7 of Titan Table Talk is men's soccer senior co-captain Brody Seaton. Brody, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am great and super excited about a very dramatic finish to that game on Saturday. For those who may have missed it, just a couple days ago, Titans in an early 2-0 hole against traditional CCW Power North Park. And then all of a sudden, 61st minute PK converted by yourself. Less than a minute later, Fahim Mujahid hits a game-tying goal from CJ Rodriguez, and then that same duo connects with 3 minutes left in the game. 3-2 Titan victory, first win over the Vikings since 2008. Tell us a little bit about, especially that second half, and how that went down with the adjustments you guys made at halftime.
Yeah, so that was a crazy game, first of all, one of our most exciting games of the year. But, so yeah, first half didn't really go our way, and it was tough because we were talking at halftime. We didn't feel like we were playing bad. We just kind of had a couple breaks that didn't go our way. The kid hit a nice long-range goal, and so we were all talking at halftime. We just needed to keep doing what we were doing. Like, we were playing fine, you know. We made a couple adjustments here and there, made a couple personnel changes. You saw in the second half, CJ and Fahim linked up a couple times, so that was a big adjustment. We had CJ staying up top, getting the ball on his feet, and then Fahim running in behind, which worked out very well. So we knew the second half was going to be tough, and we knew we had to get the first 10 minutes, and so we came out hot, and then it took a little longer than 10 minutes, but, you know, Fahim got the PK. He was causing all types of problems for their back line, and then converted the PK, and then CJ just found Fahim, and from then on it was all us. I felt like from after the PK, they were rattled, and then we took it from there. So
that was definitely what it looked like from the bits and pieces that I was able to catch. And what's so fun is, like, it's pretty easy when you're down 2-0 to a team that you're not favored to beat to feel like you're out of it at halftime. And clearly that was not the case. I mean, I think you guys, as you said, you played with them in the first half, just ended up on what was probably a 5 to 10% win percentage realistically coming out of halftime, and were able to finish off a pretty dramatic victory. And that puts you guys, and I'm a little bit removed from my, Illinois Wesleyan limited math education, but that puts you guys into the CCW tournament for sure, but with a chance to play potentially for a 3 or 4 seed and get to host a game in the first round. Very tightly packed top of the conference right now. Wheaton sitting at 4-0-1, North Central 4-0-2, North Park 3-1-1, Titans at 3-1-2, Carthage then at 2-2-1, Elmhurst 3-3. So there's your 6, but a lot of different ways that could shake out. How are you guys feeling going into these last 2 regular season games up at Elmhurst on Wednesday and home against North Central on Saturday?
We're feeling good. I feel like if there was a time for a game like Saturday, it's right now, because these next 2 games can decide what seed we get. Like you said, if we get a 4 seed or above, we host our first game, and then we even have a chance to get a 1 or 2 seed to where we get a bye and we host the semifinal automatically. So there's a lot to play for in these last 2 games. We've got a very big week ahead, but everyone is feeling good. Everyone's ready to go. I feel like we're catching our flame right at the right time of the season, right at the end, so that we can go into the postseason feeling very good. So.
And nice to come into a big week like that, feeling good about yourselves and feeling good about creating a lot of momentum on Saturday, that's for sure. And it's been an interesting ride this year, because not necessarily a team that came in with huge external expectations, picked 7th in the preseason poll. I think you guys internally thought you were probably a little better than that, but then started with a couple of big statement wins, the 1-0 opening day victory over Wash U, of course, and then 2-0 up at Aurora a few days later. Couple of disappointing losses in mid to late September, a couple games I think you guys felt like you should have had, and then all of a sudden a big bounce back here in October, winning 3 out of the last 4 over Augie Milliken and North Park with that scoreless draw versus Carroll in there. Is there any particular thing or things that you credit that really nice bounce back and turnaround to over these last few weeks?
I feel like the game that kind of started shifting our play and our momentum was the Carthage game, honestly. It was our first CCIW game, and that was coming off, like you said, a couple disappointing losses where we felt like we could have done better at a couple things not go our way, a couple results that, weren't the best. But that Carthage draw, I feel like, really showed us who we can hang with, because, Carthage, they're middle of the table, but they were a really good team. And then the Carroll and Wheaton game, the 0-0 draw against Carroll, that was a game that we really felt like we could get some points, but it really showed our strength with our defense. Even though we couldn't score, we're not going to let them score. And I feel like since then, our CCIW games, the big game against Milliken too, I didn't get to play in that game, but that was a really, really big game for our team as well. Shout out to Logan Shoemaker getting the game-winning goal in front of the home crowd. So that was awesome. I feel like that Milliken game really propelled our team coming into Saturday, which, got the best result we have so far. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And, thinking outside of soccer, at least outside of just these last couple games for a few minutes, getting to know you a little bit for those who are not familiar with Brody's story. Went out to Fort Wayne for your first 2 years of college, originally native of Dunlap, went to Peoria Notre Dame, so coming back much closer to home to play, your junior and senior years of college soccer. And what was it that really drew you back to Illinois Wesleyan?
So I came on a visit here. I really liked all the guys on the team. They were very welcoming even on my visit. I had a couple of schools you go to, you don't know anyone. It's tough going on a visit there. They were all really cool. And then really good academics here with the finance department. I was very interested in that. The Bloomberg Lab's really cool over in State Farm Hall. A lot of good facilities here. And then, like I said, just the environment of the school and even the city of Blono. There's always stuff going on, always good times around. So I liked hanging with the guys, and then with the school academics, and then being able to play soccer close to home. It all kind of fit together, and then it's all working out well. So.
Yeah, I'd say it's hard to imagine a more exciting last few weeks of your college soccer career than we have seen, and hopefully that we're going to see over these next couple weeks. And as you look into the future, I realize graduation's still quite a few months away. We don't need to think about that too much yet. But what are your plans going forward?
So I actually accepted a job with a health insurance company in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's Pareto Health, so I'm going to be an underwriting associate for them. So I'll start that in June after my graduation. So like you said, still got a couple months of school to get through, but I got a job accepted for after graduation, so that's exciting as well.
And nice feeling of peace to be sitting on that job offer in October, know what you're going to be doing, and just know that you can kind of enjoy these last few months of senior year and everything without having to
get to focus on soccer and school and just kind of make my way through and enjoy the last year.
So for those who want to catch the Titans this week, either via the live stream or online, once again, it's a 7:30 kick up at Elmhurst on Wednesday, and then senior day, 3:30 start against North Central on Saturday right here at Nice Field. Come on out and watch Brody and the Titans battle for seeding in the CCIW tournament. Good luck to you guys this week. Hope everything goes great.